City Council meeting, November 8th. Will come to order, please.
Hay,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Shivers,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Miller.
Okay, next thing on our agenda is a work session. So I need a motion that we adjourn into work session.
No, we're already in work session.
Oh,
We're already there.
I thought we had to do
Okay,
that.
no, we're already there.
We have to go out of it.
No, we're actually in work session.
Okay, thank you. We're in it. Okay, the first thing we have on our discussion list is using electronic devices for city council meetings. And Mr.
Okay.
Slagle?
We can do electronic packets now. We already do. Media gets them that way. Some of the department directors get them that way. So the real question is if you wish to get it that way, we can do that.
But that also means we can still get our regular...
You can, it's your choice. If you would rather have the book or electronic device, whichever you want to do. The only issue would be is that we would just get you an electronic device that you would have, and we'd send it to your regular email. Patrick would set it up. And an example very well would be is, Russell, if you'll hold yours up, that's kind of what it would be like right there. That's what he uses.
Big pad.
Is a good example. Kenzie has a little something different there, but he uses one. So Chad's using one. So it would be, if that's what you would rather have, you'd rather have your packet, we can get you one of those, and we can send it to your email. You open it up, and there it is.
That's,
So,
we don't
it's-
really need to discuss it. I guess what everybody needs to do is just tell you
Just-
whether they want to.
Just
or
let
not.
me know, or let Marcy know what you want, and if you want an electronic device and send it that way, we'll do it that way.
Okay, all right.
So-
Okay, any more discussion about that? All right. Golf carts. I might remind you that this came up back in June, I think, and in this packet now we have a little bit more detailed comment from the public safety. I'd like to add one thing that kind of is, if you go in the public safety's comments, go down to number 3, where it says golf cart, and it seemed like there might have been some confusion about the difference between a golf cart and a golf car, C-A-R. Golf cars have VIN numbers. That means those are numbers given to them by the manufacturer. Golf carts do not. They have a bill of sale. Would anybody like to make any more comments, and then we can just discuss that if you want to.
The only thing that I'm going to say is, in talking to some other cities and stuff, the one positive I could say is if you did do something with golf carts is, I noticed in here they talk about mowers and stuff, and we don't really have a way to enforce anything with those. And some of these places have, when they make a law to allow golf carts, they deal with these things as well. So it would give you some enforcement, on the people who are riding a mower or what have you. And in the cities that seem that it works a lot, it would be impoundment. So, yeah, that's what they do.
We
They
might have
impound
a lot of mowers.
That's just something that I thought, I was like, well, because I know from experience here, and even written in here, we don't have a lot of ability to battle this situation, and B, is when we do write tickets, and just from my years here, it is a hassle sometimes to get somebody to pay a ticket, and just because you get a ticket written to you doesn't mean a whole lot to some people, so.
Well,
Not endorsing one way or another, I'm just saying that's something.
yeah, you're just adding on to it. Anybody?
Well, I think that, I think it's going to be something that's going to continue to come up. I think one thing is that we can make the rules on these. Number two, I think some of us assume that all of a sudden there's going to be 2,000 golf carts on the street in Mexico. And just to buy a nice used one, before you get all the bells and whistles of lights and everything else that you need to do is probably a minimum of $4,000. And then when you start talking about putting lights and all that other stuff on it, I mean, you're going to up the price. Two things that I think are happening that I think we need to keep an eye on. I mean, gas is going up and it doesn't look like it's going down. And so what's it going to be next summer? I mean, if somebody wants to tool around town or around their neighborhood or somewhere, or, go get something, can they, if they already have one, can they save money? Because I'm assuming that there's some people that already have golf carts or, some other thing that they would like to use. I mean, how far, I think we have to have a discussion on how far do we want to go. Do we want to, are we going to allow UTVs? Are we going to just stop at a certain spot? But I don't think it's going to be the last time we hear from people in the town that want to start looking at that option, especially when you go to Centralia and you see them functioning with it. And I know each city's a little different. I get that. I understand the highways that run through there. I understand having to regulate them with our public safety. If it's a manpower deal, is it something we need to look at? For public safety, we need to reevaluate recruitment or pay or something to get more public safety officers so that we can, look at adding things like that. I don't know. But I just, I think it's something that's just going to continue. We're going to continue to get comments from the public all the time about continuing to reevaluate this and, either probably we just need to say we're never going to revisit it, or so stop coming to council comments, or stop coming to public comments, or, I mean, what? I just.
I think we can do that.
I know. It's going to end up just being thanks, and so.
Well, I think it reminds me of before I got on council, one of the big things was whether or not we as a city was going to institute no smoking in all public entities. And there was, people would come back and forth. And what we've seen is over that time is, the council had made the decision to let each entity make its decision on that. And even though there were people who were upset at that time, eventually they realized that maybe that was the best choice for our city. In a similar manner, we have visited, we did do our research. I think we did due diligence. You made a really good point. Like you said, we're not probably going to see a bunch of people getting golf carts because if they're really not that affordable if you don't have that type of expendable income. Which means, like you just mentioned, it's going to be for people who probably already have the money to pay the rising gas costs, which is still lower than what it's been. It was about 4 or 5 years ago. And so then it brings the issue, so who's really benefiting from doing it? If we look at the way that our city is set up, we have several highways that go through. And I know that the young lady who was here and gave us the nice packet was mentioning that we were just going to write them in residential areas. Well, based on where she lived and the address she gave, that would mean she could go 2 blocks north before she hit Liberty, and she could go 1.5 blocks to the west before she would hit agriculture, which means then you're going to be outside of the residential zone. And there's several places within Mexico that would fall into similar categories. Again, I think we also have to really pay attention to the people who have to enforce and the fact that we're looking at safety. And when our public safety takes the time to address the concerns that they have with a golf cart, which is supposed to not go any faster than 20 miles an hour on roads where we have people going up to 30, 35, it causes safety issues, not only for our kids, but for the adults. And we all know that if there's golf carts, who's going to say that it's going to be a 16-year-old with a license that's driving it? And like we said, public safety has made it apparent, evident that they don't think it's a good idea. We've been trying to recruit public safety officers for as long as I can remember being here. They've raised the cost. They've tried to do, different things, and it hasn't helped us. because we're that size where we can train people, they get what they need, and then the public safety officers tend to go to bigger places, and what they see is greener pastures. So, I think we have to do our due diligence as a council to look at the safety of our community and recognize that although it may seem like a great idea to some, we have to really look out for those within the community that may not know and understand what all is going on. That's my 2 cents.
My 2 cents.
Might have been 3.
I don't know about the rest of you, but we own a golf cart, and we've had one for years, and I've ridden around in them for years. And the thing about golf carts, like mine, I just ride it on the golf course, and I don't intend to really ride it anyplace else. And as it's pointed out here in the public safety report, they flip over easily. They're a light vehicle. And I'll tell you this, right after the last study session we had, it just so happened that we were out on the golf course. This must have been about a week later. And somehow we got the golf cart going down a hill, and it went into a slide. And it scared me to death. I really thought, if you flip one, you don't have any protection really from them. And then a few years ago, when I was reading this, I thought about it, but I was playing in a golf tournament down the Lake of the Ozarks, and in order to get from the front 9 to the back 9, you had to cross a little bit over the road. And so we pull out into the road, and here comes a car, and I swear it was going 30 miles an hour up in the parking lot. And we just turned. I don't know what kept us both in the cart, but it kind of ruined the tournament for me. And they're not really safe. And then if you buy a cart and there's a label on it, it says they are not for city streets. They are for golf courses. And then there's another line. There's several lines on those things, and it says, it's on my phone. I could get it up if you want to look at it. But it says, "Do not drive on city streets." That's what that's what the manufacturer's label says on the cart. So I'm not inclined to really, just in the interest of safety. I know people would like to have them. They sound neat. Chris, I was talking to you about a video we were watching about a police officer doing a video on all the O'Fallon's regulations. The O'Fallon's regulations are a mile long. It's not like just a little list of regulation. They're a mile long. But he says in the video, people want to drive them in their neighborhoods, but it says he also adds the word affluent in there. Did you hear that? Did you hear him say affluent neighborhoods? I was listening to it. When you're talking about an affluent neighborhood, like maybe we have a few of those here in Mexico, but you've got a curb on the street. And if you drive up a Lakeview, where people do drive very fast, even if you're just crossing it, but if there are ditches there. I'm sure if I go around town, there are other places where it'd be pretty easy to run one off and flip it over. So at this time, I'm not inclined. I'm not inclined to really support this at this time. I talked to my friends out at the golf course and said, "How do you feel about this?" Maybe we're a bunch of old ladies that are playing together, but they said, that none of them, they just thought it was just kind of a dangerous thing to consider. So that's my feelings on that. And the floor is still open for anybody else. Oh, by the way, one thing people may not realize is that right now you buy insurance on your golf cart. You usually are buying it just for golf course usage. That insurance might run $75. It's gone up a little bit, $75, $80. Then you go to get an insurance policy that you can drive a golf cart on the street. You might run anywhere from $400 to $1,000 policy on it. So that's another consideration into the cost of it if that's what you want to consider as far as the expense of doing this for yourself. So anyway, you have the floor. Anybody else?
I just say my position before, and it's still in my position, and I said it before we started the meeting, is As far as what you want to do with a golf cart, I still think a UTV with a roll cage is safer than a golf cart. So if you're going to do a golf cart, I wouldn't support anything unless you do UTVs too. So, and to what you were saying on the regulations, one thing I thought was interesting is that I didn't know all this about golf carts, but I guess there's different types of golf carts. And so in some of these, I guess you would call affluent towns that have it, like what you were talking about, going and buying a golf cart and then putting stuff on it, that wouldn't be legal in their towns. You have to buy, I guess you can buy, it has to be manufactured with the seat belts and the lights and all. It's not something that they don't allow you just to go out on Craigslist and buy a golf cart, throw some stuff on there and go.
I don't think that's necessarily true, but
Well, that's what one of them.
you might have to have a golf manufacturer put them on there for you.
Well, that was what one of their police
Did they
chiefs,
really? Did
Yeah,
they say
was
that?
like, we want this to be, and that goes to what you were talking about with insurance, because if you want insurance, you can't. The way it was presented to me is you can't go just get insurance, liability insurance at the same level that you can for a car for just some regular old golf cart.
Right.
You have to have a title for the golf cart. You can't just have, like if I just went and bought a golf cart, I guess you just get a receipt or whatever you call it. But to get insurance, liability insurance, you have to have a title, and so you'd have to get the title, and that's a different type of golf cart. I guess they make golf carts that you can get titles for. I didn't know this, but apparently they do.
Well, those are the ones you get titles for are golf cars, and they're electric. I mean, sometimes they look like a lot like golf carts, but they're electric cars, and they have a VIN number. If they have a VIN number, then you can get them licensed because the state will license those.
Right.
This is a different matter, so.
So that's my position. I'm with the UTVs. So.
And I'm kind of with Chris on this. I just, I think stupidity can be found in a lot of things, and not just a golf cart. I mean, you can find it in a car. You can find it, let's talk about one of the most dangerous things, probably a motorcycle, and they're allowed on the streets. I grew up on a golf course. I was probably driving a golf cart before many of you. I drove one without a steering wheel. Think about that, with the old bar. The old three-wheel. So if you want to talk about unsafe, then you want to see that. But, I don't. Number one, I'm not going to pass laws because they're affluent or not affluent. What do they want? If someone can't afford it, then they can't afford it. That's why we put it out there. If you can't afford it, then you have the option to do that. If not, then you have the option not to have it. I don't. I see the danger in it, but I also see the danger of lawnmowers going down the street with no lights on them. I also see the danger of a bicycle that has no lights with a motor on it tooling around town. And and those things are probably going faster than what those golf cars can go. And I don't think those people are affluent, but I don't know.
Well, I'm just telling you what he said.
I get it. I get what you're saying, but I'm just...
that was just something interesting.
Believe me, I've been on a golf course my whole life. I've been on golf cars my whole life. I've owned a golf, my family's owned golf carts their whole life, so, I've seen them, and it's just like any other vehicle where you're not the main person on the road, is that you've got to watch out for other people and be safe yourself. And I know you can't take other people's, you got to trust other people a little bit, but you also got to be on point yourself on what's happening around you, and so, I get it, and I understand it, but I could go either way on it. But I think it's something that's probably just going to be that more people are even going to be into, especially as the UTVs probably get more popular.
That's what
probably more popular than the golf cars themselves.
I've seen the person here. We've had a couple here, but my inbox blows up with UTVs. Like every time somebody from the golf people says something, they're like, "What about us?" I'm like, yeah. If you're gonna do one, you're gonna do both.
I do have a question. Maybe it doesn't even make sense, but if you were to pass, say you were to pass like the O'Fallon ordinances, I've seen even stricter ones than that, and somebody gets certified on one, and then there's a bad accident on one. Does the city have any liability, or could have any liability with any of that? Do you know, Bruce?
I would defer to Lou, but I'm not sure that you would, but the point being is sometimes it doesn't matter who's right or wrong. We get sued anyway, and it costs us to defend ourselves whether we have a thing to do it or not.
I'm not sure that you would have liability for passing ordinance. Then you would have to look at, there is an exception to sovereign immunity for what are called dangerous property or dangerous conditions.
Could you step up to the, I just can't hear you, I'm sorry.
You're not going to have liability for passing the ordinance, okay? But we have what's called sovereign immunity, which is we're a government entity, and if we would have a dangerous condition of property like a curb or a gutter, or where we haven't replaced a curb, dangerous condition on the street or an intersection, and someone driving a golf cart got hurt because of that, we would have liability there. And frankly, I've been thrown out of a golf cart twice on a golf course. But that type of vehicle, if you have those kind of conditions, is just much more susceptible to an injury because you don't have the cage and the bag and the restraint. But just passing the legislation, no.
Okay.
But then you're opening yourself up to, you got more vehicles on the road, if you've got a problem, that kind of thing. I always find it interesting when you go to Columbia or Jefferson City and they have a bicycle lane, but their streets are much wider. That's, I think, really the fundamental problem that you have here.
Well, the packet that, what was the lady's name? Mrs. Barnes, I think, that gave us all this
Lady
packet.
on Candy Cane Lane.
Yeah, and it had 4 pictures. It had a golf cart, it had I don't remember, an all-terrain vehicle, had some other things. All 4 pictures, I don't know if she realizes this, all 4 pictures had the label of the manufacturer that said, don't drive these on streets. They're not safe on streets.
What that is that's the manufacturer putting a warning on the device so that if it goes on the street, they can't claim they weren't warned about it. So they're trying to protect themselves from liability by putting a warning on it. Okay, that's what that is.
It's still a warning.
It's a warning.
Yeah.
And that's what they're trying to do there is say, we told you about this, you can't come back and sue us because claim we didn't give you a warning about it not being safe or as safe as it was. That's what they're doing.
Like don't iron your clothes while wearing them.
Yeah, or,
Yeah, I got you.
Haven't seen that on my.
the best one I can think of is diving boards. Okay, don't dive in shallow water. You see that on the side of the swimming pool.
Required to have it on.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
So in essence, the thing that came to my mind was potholes. And I'm thinking a golf cart with like no suspension. It's a golf cart or hits one of these potholes in the street and causes an accident with themselves or what have you. Different than a car.
You run into that on, frankly, golf courses. You'll find low areas, low depressions, that kind of thing. Some of the more modern golf cards. They'll have, you can plug in your phone into them, you can charge your GPS up, you can get directions, maps,
Wow.
all that kind of stuff. But the basic premise that you have is, my folks lived in a retirement community down in Arkansas. It was a big retirement community. It was built for golf carts. Everybody, they drive to the convenience store, go to the grocery store, pick something up, something like that. It also had 7 golf courses. People were familiar with them. They were aware of them. They knew where they were.
Did they have golf court lanes for the golf carts? Yeah.
So that's, I hope that's helpful.
I've seen, we were in Phoenix, I saw that, but they had their own lane they went in. They run all over town, but they were in their own lane. So, any more comments? Okay, we will move on to regular session. Thank you, all.
Future discussion items.
Oh, I'm sorry. Consideration of future discussion items. Is there anything anybody would like to bring up for future discussion? Nobody's think of anything at the moment. Project updates?
We have nothing this time, Your Honor.
Okay, it says adjournment to regular session, so I guess we can adjourn to regular. Do we need a motion then for adjournment to regular session?
I move to adjourn to regular session.
Second.
Okay, all,
Hay,
Yes.
Briggs,
yes.
Shivers,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
And we call to order again. Okay, call to order, and we need the roll call.
Briggs,
Yes.
Shivers,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Hay,
Yes.
Miller,
I move for the approval of the minutes.
Second.
Briggs,
Yes.
Shivers,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Hay,
Yes.
Did we approve the minutes? Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Yeah, we just,
Did we do that?
we just read the resolution.
Okay, never mind. Okay, we have a resolution, bill number 2021-73, Mr. Schlegel.
Yes, this is our annual agreement with the Mexico Area Chamber of Commerce for our marketing activities and assistance that they provide us. To cover the details of the contract, Roger Haynes.
Good evening, Council. This year's budget includes the funds for the city to enter an agreement with the Mexico Chamber of Commerce to assist in marketing activities for this full budget year. The city of Mexico would contribute to the Mexico Area Chamber of Commerce a sum of $13,000 for using the cost of marketing activities. Dana Keller, the Executive Director, has provided the council a narrative of some of those activities. She is here this evening, and would also have an opportunity to expound on those and address the council. Staff does recommend that the City of Mexico and Mexico Area Chamber of Commerce enter an agreement to promote marketing activities, that the council proceed with reading by title only and passage of the resolution. We have had a similar agreement with the chamber going back to at least 2005 for that dollar amount.
Okay.
Is she talking? Oh.
Vanna, did you want to say something?
She did.
Okay.
I very much appreciate your consideration. I would never come to city council dressed like this, but it just happens that today we went live with the My New Mexmo app. So if you have your phones, you could pull it out.
Oh, cool.
Android or iPhone in your Play Store. You can download our app. This is the foundation, and it looks terrific, but we're very excited because starting next week, we'll begin to roll out our public push to the community to download the app, and then we'll start working with the people listed on the app, giving them the opportunity, if they're a restaurant, to, add menus to that. If they're, have special services, they can add to it. people, when they download the app, can agree to notifications, so that will enable our participants also to send push notifications with current information. We will be able to share schedules. So Walk Back in Time or Miss Missouri or anything like that, we can use that app to put the schedules for the events on there. It's a quick way if we had like the Clydesdales and it rained and we need to make updates to times, it can all be sent out through the application. I also believe that this is going to give Missouri Military Academy, those parents full reign, full access to our local businesses so that they can order things and provide things for their students. So we're super excited about that. And then quickly, not tourism related, but I would say of real note, and something that the Chamber is very pleased with, is that we now have a full-time workforce specialist that's working in the community. It's kind of the situation of before you quit call. She's in our major manufacturers on scheduled hours. There's 4 partners, and she is working with employees. We've got men and women in their 50s and 60s that are taking advantage of these services. It's not even just like young, new employees. We figured out that it's almost always not the job that they're at, but it's managing situations outside of their job that interfere with them to be able to do the work. So with our low unemployment, it's 2.6, I think. 2.3 currently. That's wonderful on one hand and terrible on the other. We need to keep people where they're at in their jobs. So we're super excited about Darlene's position, and we just feel like we've had a great year at the Chamber, and it's been really especially great considering, all of the last 18, 20 months that we're coming off of. So I'd be glad to answer any questions, and again, we just appreciate the city and the council's continued support.
Now, you have to be a member of the chamber to be on the app, right?
No.
Anyone can.
No.
Nope, if you have a city business license, we'll put you on the app. And we will also, we will send out to all of our members and, information explaining to them how they can, better utilize their listing. But as people obtain business licenses, we'll be able to go ahead and add them to that app. So if they're in our city and they have a business, they'll be on there.
That'll be great. I know there were like 300 or 400 people here for the MMA parent weekend, and it would have been nice to have had the app for them.
Oh, we tried so hard, but we're just really excited because we spend a lot of time on the campus when school starts. So we'll make sure that all of the parents know about the app, and the Parents Association will help us share with all of the parents that app is available. And Miss Missouri, I think it'll be
great,
as well. But, we want to make sure it's beneficial to the people in our community as well. So I think the addition of menus and, special sales and promotions and event schedules will keep it relevant to our local people too. So.
Awesome.
Pretty big night.
Well, thank you. Good.
I move for reading of bill number 2021-73.
Second.
Buddy,
It's been.
you can come help make them?
Second. Yes.
Shivers.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Hay.
Yes.
Bill number 2021-73, a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with the Mexico Area Chamber of Commerce to assist in marketing activities for the city of Mexico. I move for passage of bill number 2021-73.
Second.
Briggs.
Yes.
Shivers.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Hay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're short on agenda today, so we go to the claims. Do I have a motion to pay the bills?
Make a motion to pay the bills?
Second.
Oh,
Briggs.
yes.
Shivers.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Hay.
Yes.
All right, we move on to council comments, and I am actually going to start with you, Chris Williams.
Oh, geez, thanks. Appreciate that. Yeah. Screw me up, man.
Sorry.
I'm going to say that I agree with Coach Hayek here that I think where we're at with the golf carts and stuff, like, I think us as a council are going to have to come to a consensus, because I do think I agree that people are going to keep coming until we just say yes or no. And I referenced the smoking thing, and eventually we got to the point where the entirety of the council was like, no, we're not doing it. And so that kind of put an end to it. So I don't know what that looks like for us, but just something we should keep in the back of our mind. And then I have a question. I heard that, I don't know if there's any truth to this, but I heard that Dawn Foods was sold, the building, Rise, whatever it was when they left. I heard that they were selling.
It's not completed yet, but they're getting closer. Yeah.
So that is true. And they were going to reopen it as a bakery?
Several different potential buyers have looked at it from the beginning, so it sounds like they're getting close, but they haven't provided me that finality yet.
Well, I guess I would go back to Dana's point, is that's good but bad, because I don't know where we're going to get the workers for anything, so. And that's all I have. Oh, wait, one more thing. Congratulations, sir. Your football team is doing amazing this year, so that's it.
Okay, I'll go next. Well, first of all, we thank the Mexico Chamber of Commerce for all that they do. You've had some events this week and over the last couple of weeks. It's been really fun to go to, and I'm pleased. It's nice to know about the new app thing. We do need to kind of just celebrate that our unemployment is so low. Did you say 2.3%? But on the other hand, that just emphasizes our need for housing here and to get people here, because it sort of limits us as far as people available for employment. So I think we're working on that, and that'll be interesting to see how that develops. Ayana?
I think everything's pretty much been said. Enjoyed the Presser Pack Gala the other night. Great company and great music and just a really nice evening. Again, of course, congratulations to you guys making it to the district finals. No, right? Yep. District finals. So good luck. I won't be in town, so I'll have to miss the game in the cold. But be rooting for the whole team, especially that Shivers and Mahaney game. And just enjoying living the dream.
And I'm going to let you go last, Coach. You may tell us a little bit about that football game, too.
Well, the football game is a lot of fun, so hopefully this week's is fun as well. So, of course, it's all about, I'm a really good coach when I have really good players, so I got some really good players, so that always makes it a lot easier, and I got a good staff, so that always helps. Chamber being here, the business dinner was phenomenal. Fluid Power was honored, and that's great. I get an opportunity to deliver and pick up stuff out there, and if you've never been out there and seen that place in motion, it's probably one of the best places to deal with, because they know what they're doing and they're very good. So I was glad to be offered to go to that dinner, and it was great to celebrate those businesses and that business for what they've done. And I had a friend who also started a business with the grant that they got, the Missouri grant with I forget what that grant's called. They apply for that and they get money because they're going to provide jobs, and I think that's a great thing for Missouri businesses to be able to do, especially when they're going to give jobs. And love to have a couple more of those here in Mexico. That'd be great. So other than that, I guess I'll do a shameless plug to come on out Friday night and let's have some fun at Hawthorne Heights at 7 o'clock. And I know I heard something about some free cookies or something if we win at McDonald's afterwards. I don't know.
First it was a Big Mac, now it's cookies.
Cookies are cheaper, though. Look, he's going to him. So
Right.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. And so we move on to our last little thing on the agenda. That's our public comments. If you're coming up to comment, you are limited to 3 minutes, and please state your name and address. So anybody? Okay, with that, then I ask for a motion for adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Briggs,
Yes.
Bickers,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.